What's up guys, welcome back to a new Kengan Mega chapter review. Today we have chapter 106. As a whole, this was another solid chapter and truly setting up this current fight to be one of the best of the tournament so far. We got more reveals about who Nicolas actually is and his fighting style that he's using on Justice Boy. But yep, now onto the review. The chapter begins with Rin and everyone else in France questioning who this Nicolas is who's fighting for Purgatory. She mentions that he looks similar to the real Nicolas, but he isn't the Nicolas Lee banner she saw. And she questions the possibility that he could be a worm imposter. And then later on in the chapter we find out more about who this Nicolas truly is. Be a mad lad by subscribing and joining the superior side, helping me reach my 2021 goal of 100k subscribers. I also have a Patreon for people who want various benefits while supporting the channel directly, alongside the Discord server and my Twitter. That's all linked in the description. Now enjoy the video. We then cut back to the fight to see what happened with the final blow Nicolas landed on Justice Boy's face. We see that Justice Boy is bleeding from the face, but he seems to be fine. And this is where we have him questioning what happened. He confirms that he lost vision in one of his eyes and then points out that Nicolas is attacking his nerves, and by doing this he's able to paralyze them for a short moment of time, which creates the illusion that a certain body part has disappeared, and that's what that invisible effect on Justice Boy's arm was a few chapters ago, and that it truly isn't poison. Then we see the attack that caused Justice Boy to lose his eyesight, and as I predicted in last chapter, it was the slap before the fight began. I had a lot of people in the comments saying how Nicolas attacked his eye during that chapter. I looked at it again and it did kind of seem like Nicolas attacked his eye during the exchange earlier in last chapter, but as I predicted, it was actually the slap that caused this eyesight issue to happen with Justice Boy. So, a quick little dub for me. I will, happily take that. And I'm really enjoying this fight being something that kind of counters Justice Boy. This is explored more later in the chapter, but it's more like Justice Boy isn't dominating. For all the other fights we've seen him have in the story so far, he's mostly been fine, and we don't really get much inner monologue from him about, strategizing and how to counter his opponent. So I'm glad we're actually getting this in his fight with Nicolas. We have Nicolas trying to land another strike, but Justice Boy is able to dodge, which makes some people on Team Kengan, including Koga and Yamashita, question why he's dodging rather than attacking back. And of course, we just learned why he's dodging rather than blocking. Then we have Kanogito saying the following: "It's an attack which aims for his nerves. That's tough to defend with a normal defense. This is his natural nemesis. As we know, Justice Boy specializes in defending in blocking rather than dodging." So Nicolas kinda hard counters, or not hard counters, but counters Justice Boy during this fight, which is gonna put Justice Boy at the disadvantage for the majority. We have Nicolas who mentions he can't control the paralyzing timing, so he needs to kind of wait for the moment where it happens, then strike. He can't really predict when it's going to happen. And he also mentions that the paralysis only lasts from 10 to 40 seconds. So that's the time span he has to land and attack on a, paralyzed part of Justice Boy. Then we have my favorite part of the chapter. We have Nicolas going for another attack on the paralyzed, I believe, right arm of Justice Boy. But as he tries to do that, we have Justice Boy pretty much shoulder punching him in the face, doing some considerable damage, which actually shocks Nicolas. How is he able to use that side of his arm meant to be paralyzed? The fact that he just ran at him and used his shoulder to punch him is absolutely badass, and then he kicks Nicolas to the ground, and that's the first official down of this match. However, right as Nicolas hit the ground, he used an attack to paralyze Justice Boy from the core, and this actually causes a full body paralysis for a temporary amount of time, and also does some issues with his breathing. And then Nicolas, while Justice Boy is down, attacks him with a kick to the face, and this causes the referee to tell him to stop, and that he can't attack people when they're down. And while we're on the subject of the rules, didn't Jaime finish Dorota while he was on the ground with various strikes? So I'm not too sure while Nicolas isn't allowed to do that, while in other fights we've seen people attack them while they're down. So I'm not too sure how consistent the rules for the Purgatory vs Kengan tournament have been so far, but what can we do? We have Justice Boy getting back up after 1 second. We see Nicolas is shaking, so the elbow punch and the kick that was landed on him did some considerable damage. And we see Justice Boy shaking as well, showing he's taken some considerable damage as well. So damage wise, I would say they're about equal. So yeah, so far pretty equal fight. Then we have Nicolas talking about what the difference between a heavyweight and a middleweight is, and as he's mentioning that, he lands a strike on Justice Boy's head, and I guess it shakes his brain or hits some nerve on his head, and this causes various parts of Justice Boy's body to pretty much disappear or to become paralyzed at the same time. And this, you know, we have Nicolas laughing, landing a kick, with it truly demonstrating how hard Nicolas actually counters Justice Boy during this fight, with every block he would normally use resulting in a portion of his body to be paralyzed for a specific amount of time, which in turn allows Nicolas to land more strikes. And we see in this panel here that Justice Boy has been kicked to the ground again. And then we cut to Rin and all the people in France talking about who this real Nicolas could possibly be. She talks about how data was leaked in the dark web about purgatory fighters, and she also mentions that all the worm members who had been imposters so far were created to closely resemble the real deal, or to look so much like them you couldn't really tell the difference. However, in this case, there's a very clear difference between the real Nicolas and the current Nicolas. She mentions that the worm could be behind this, but it doesn't make sense considering how different they actually look, and it makes you think about how this could actually be a different case. And then as they're looking through more photos, they find the photo that was mentioned, I believe, 1 or 2 chapters ago, about when Nicolas returned home to, you know, meet Jerome before one of their missions, and how he brought along one of his colleagues from his special ops unit, and the colleague he actually brought along with him is the current Nicolas, who went by the name Jean, and this person was in the same unit as the real Nicolas. So current Nicolas was in the same unit as the real Nicolas, and then we see what actually happened to the real Nicolas. So we see the person who was sitting on top of all those bodies that we got last chapter, and this is the current Nicolas. He says the following: "That night I killed you. I am happy that I killed all of you on such a lovely night." So this confirms that the person by the name of Jean killed the real Nicolas alongside all the other people part of the special ops group, and he actually, I'm guessing, destroyed the face so much of the real Nicolas that people believed it was Jean rather than, you know, the real Nicolas. And we see here that he's actually calling the dead Nicolas Jean, showing that he's taken over his identity after killing him, with him now having his glasses on. As we see in the photo prior, the current Nicolas doesn't need glasses, so he actually stole the identity of the real Nicolas after killing him and everyone else in the group. I believe Nicolas has some other motive that may not be connected to the worm. It could possibly be connected to the worm, and if it is, we'll most likely find out in a few chapters, but I doubt. I'm guessing this is just some crazy psychopath, or he has some other major importance in the overall story that's not directly connected to the worm. And the reason I believe this is based on what Naden said to Dong Chen, and that's for him to be wary or careful about Nicolas. And if the current Nicolas was part of Worm, I don't think Naden would have said that. So I think he maybe realized that something was off about this Nicolas, and that the possibility that this Nicolas could be some crazy killer is highly likely, and really just wanted to look out for his, you know, only real friend Dong Chen. So that's my little view on that. Or it could be that Nicolas is someone like rivaling the worm or on some other crazy mission. But yep, that's pretty much everything we've got during this chapter. As a whole, very solid. Can't wait to next chapter. We're probably going to get more of the fight. Maybe Justice Boy snapping. I'm surprised we haven't got him snapping yet. And when he does so, I think Nicolas is going to be in some trouble. But at this current point, Nicolas is in the lead during the fight with his paralyzing technique, pretty much hard countering Justice Boy's blocking. But yep, that's pretty much everything for today's chapter review. I hope you enjoyed. As always, shout out to the people who support the channel via the Patreon. Absolute mad lads, couldn't be doing these videos without you. But yep, that's it guys. Peace.